The internet had seen controversial moments before: viral breakdowns, emotional reactions. Public figures pushed into the center of online storms they never seemed fully prepared for. But when discussions around Erika Kirk began escalating across clips, reaction channels, and comment sections, something about this situation felt different at first. It looked like just another internet controversy: a few posts, a few emotional reactions, scattered debates spreading between platforms. But as more creators started dissecting her behavior, viewers noticed a strange shift in tone. Clips were replayed frame by frame, expressions were analyzed, old interviews resurfaced. Entire threads appeared trying to connect moments that may or may not have meant anything at all. And then the algorithm stepped in. Suddenly, the conversation wasn't isolated anymore. YouTube recommendations began feeding viewers increasingly dramatic interpretations. TikTok edits added ominous music and slowed down reactions. On X, speculation started moving faster than context itself. Some viewers believed they were witnessing someone unravel publicly. Others argued the internet was exaggerating ordinary emotional moments for engagement. But the more people watched, the more they kept asking the same question: was this genuine concern? Or had the internet once again turned uncertainty into entertainment? Because what followed next didn't just affect Erika Kirk's image online. It exposed something much larger about viral culture itself, the way audiences consume emotional instability, the speed of algorithm-driven narratives, and how quickly perception can become reality. When millions of people participate at once, and as the clips continued spreading, the line between observation and speculation became harder to separate, especially once viewers started noticing details nobody could fully explain. The discussion surrounding Erika Kirk did not explode overnight. Like many internet controversies, it began in fragments, short clips, emotional reactions, isolated comments, and moments that, on their own, may not have attracted much attention at all. But online culture rarely processes moments individually. Anymore, platforms reward patterns, emotion, and escalation. And once enough viewers begin connecting unrelated moments into a larger narrative, the internet starts constructing a story of its own. In Erika Kirk's case, the earliest reactions appeared relatively small. Some viewers described her recent appearances as emotionally intense. Others pointed toward interviews, live streams, or social posts that they believed carried a noticeably different tone compared to earlier content. At first, these discussions stayed within niche communities. A few commentary creators reacted to clips. Certain TikTok edits started gaining traction. Threads appeared across social media where users speculated about stress, pressure, or emotional burnout. However, what followed changed everything. As the discussion expanded, algorithms began amplifying the most emotionally charged interpretations, rather than the most balanced ones. That is often how online systems function. Calm analysis spreads slowly. Dramatic speculation spreads instantly. Once emotionally loaded phrases began appearing in titles and thumbnails, engagement accelerated rapidly. Viewers weren't simply watching content anymore. They were participating in an unfolding mystery. That shift matters because modern internet culture thrives on collective investigation. Audiences no longer passively consume controversies. They analyze them, remix them, and emotionally invest in them. Every new clip becomes evidence. Every reaction becomes part of a larger narrative structure. And once creators realize, audiences are emotionally hooked. The content ecosystem surrounding the topic expands aggressively. Soon, reaction channels began posting increasingly dramatic headlines. TikTok creators stitched together emotional moments with cinematic music. Comment sections filled with viewers debating whether they were witnessing authentic distress, manipulation by algorithms, or simply normal human emotion being magnified. Beyond proportion, some users argued the internet was overreacting entirely. Others believed there was something deeper happening. But the uncertainty itself became the fuel. This is where the narrative shifted from a simple online discussion into something much larger. A case study in how digital culture transforms ambiguity into obsession. On YouTube especially, recommendation systems intensified the momentum. Once viewers clicked one emotionally charged video, the platform quickly suggested more. Similar thumbnails began appearing side by side. Titles became increasingly urgent. Phrases implying instability, collapse, or emotional unraveling started, dominating recommendation feeds. The result created an illusion of certainty. When audiences repeatedly encounter the same narrative framing across dozens of videos, the human brain naturally assumes there must be legitimacy behind it. Even if the underlying evidence remains vague, repetition itself creates emotional credibility. This phenomenon has become deeply embedded in modern internet psychology, and viewers often do not realize. Clips circulated more widely, audiences began reinterpreting older moments through the lens of newer speculation. Expressions that once seemed ordinary suddenly appeared concerning. Emotional reactions that might previously have gone unnoticed became central talking points. Internet culture has a tendency to retroactively rewrite perception. Once a viral narrative gains traction, this behavior is not unique to Erika Kirk. It reflects a broader pattern across social media ecosystems. The internet rewards emotional decoding. Audiences increasingly search for hidden meanings beneath facial expressions, pauses, tone shifts, and body language. Entire communities form around analyzing perceived psychological signals. And because human beings naturally seek narrative coherence, viewers often begin connecting dots whether or not those dots were ever truly connected in the first place. Meanwhile, TikTok accelerated the emotional atmosphere even further. Unlike long-form discussions, TikTok thrives on compressed emotional impact. Nuance rarely performs well there. Instead, short edits intensify dramatic interpretations through music, zooms, captions, and reaction cuts. A 10-second clip could suddenly feel ominous, depending entirely on editing choices. This dramatically changed how audiences emotionally processed the situation. Some viewers who had never watched Erika Kirk before encountered her only through heavily edited viral clips. Their first impression was not neutral context. It was algorithmically optimized tension. And once that emotional framing takes hold, it becomes difficult for audiences to separate reality from presentation. However, the situation became even more complicated once larger creators entered the conversation. As commentary channels with massive audiences began covering the discourse, the narrative evolved into entertainment content. Videos no longer focused solely on concern or discussion. Instead, they increasingly leaned into suspense-driven storytelling structures designed to maximize retention. This is an important dynamic within modern YouTube culture. High retention. Content often relies on unresolved tension. Creators build emotional suspense by implying hidden truths, unanswered questions, or escalating mysteries, even without making direct accusations. The structure itself encourages viewers to anticipate revelation, then audiences responded exactly as platforms reward them for responding. Watch times increased, engagement exploded. Comment sections multiplied. The algorithm interpreted emotional intensity as audience satisfaction. As a result, more videos appeared. This feedback loop is one of the defining characteristics of internet virality. Platforms do not necessarily prioritize truth, balance, or emotional well-being. They prioritize attention. And emotionally uncertain situations generate enormous amounts of attention because viewers instinctively seek clarity. But clarity rarely arrives online. Instead, ambiguity expands soon. Different groups formed around competing interpretations of Erika Kirk's online presence. Some believed the criticism was deeply unfair and rooted in internet overanalysis. Others insisted viewers were witnessing warning signs that should not be ignored. A third group approached the entire situation almost like interactive entertainment, consuming every new clip for suspense value alone. That final group reveals something uncomfortable about digital culture. The internet often transforms emotionally vulnerable moments into serialized content experiences. Viewers begin following controversies the way previous generations followed television dramas. Every upload becomes an episode. Every reaction becomes character development. Emotional unpredictability increases audience retention because uncertainty keeps people returning for updates. And this emotional cycle affects creators profoundly. Public figures today exist inside permanently active feedback systems. Every expression, pause, emotional response, or awkward interaction can become material for mass interpretation. The pressure created by constant scrutiny is difficult to measure from the outside. It's because online visibility fundamentally changes human behavior. As the discourse intensified, some viewers began questioning whether the internet itself was contributing to the emotional atmosphere surrounding the situation. The more audiences analyzed Erika Kirk, the more pressure naturally accumulated around every future appearance. Even neutral moments became loaded with expectation. This creates a dangerous cycle. Once audiences expect instability, they often interpret ordinary emotional variation as confirmation. Human beings are naturally pattern-seeking creatures, and social media amplifies this instinct at enormous scale. However, another factor also played a major role: parasocial relationships. Many viewers felt emotionally connected to the personalities involved in the broader online ecosystem surrounding the discussion. In modern creator culture, audiences often feel unusually close to internet figures because content consumption mimics social familiarity. Viewers watch creators speak casually for hours across live streams, podcasts, interviews, and personal uploads. Over time, audiences begin feeling as though they personally understand these individuals. That emotional familiarity intensifies reactions during controversy. Supporters become defensive. Critics become emotionally invested. Neutral observers become amateur analysts. The internet stops functioning like a traditional media environment and starts behaving more like a collective. Emotional simulation, and algorithms amplify whichever emotional reactions perform best. This is why emotionally loaded narratives spread faster than cautious ones. .com uncertainty rarely generates high engagement. Emotional conviction does. Strong reactions encourage. Comments, shares, debates, and repeat viewing all signals platforms interpret positively. As the weeks progressed, the online narrative surrounding Erika Kirk became increasingly fragmented. Some creators attempted balanced discussions about media literacy and internet overreaction. Others leaned heavily into dramatic framing. Audiences treated the situation seriously. Others transformed it into memes and viral jokes. That fragmentation reflects another reality of modern internet culture. There is no single narrative anymore. Different audiences experience entirely different versions of the same controversy depending on platform algorithms, creator preferences, and engagement history. One viewer may encounter thoughtful discussion. Another may encounter only sensationalism. Both believe they are seeing the internet's opinion, even though their feeds are heavily personalized. This personalization deepens polarization. And because emotionally charged content spreads fastest, moderation often becomes nearly invisible. However, perhaps the most revealing part of the entire situation was how quickly speculation began replacing verified information. Online discussions increasingly blurred the line between observation and assumption. Viewers interpreted emotional moments through their own biases, experiences, and expectations. Some audiences projected concern, Others projected suspicion. Others projected entertainment. The same clip could produce entirely different emotional conclusions depending on who watched it. This phenomenon says as much about audiences as it does about the creators being discussed. Internet culture has evolved into a space where emotional interpretation itself becomes content. The ability to speculate, analyze, decode, and emotionally react is rewarded socially and algorithmically. And once millions participate simultaneously, narratives develop enormous momentum regardless of certainty. As the discussion continued expanding, another shift became noticeable. People were no longer talking only about Erika Kirk. They were talking about what the situation represented. For some viewers, it symbolized the dangers of internet obsession and mass speculation. For others, it reflected the emotional pressures placed on online personalities. Some saw it as evidence of algorithmic exploitation. Others viewed it as proof that audiences have become increasingly addicted to emotional collapse narratives. Because emotionally intense stories hold attention, and attention has become the internet's most valuable currency. This is where media literacy entered the conversation more seriously. Certain creators began encouraging viewers to question how viral narratives form in the first place. They pointed out how editing choices, thumbnail framing, selective clipping, and algorithmic repetition shape perception long before audiences consciously evaluate information. That conversation mattered because many viewers started realizing how difficult it had become to separate authentic concern from engagement optimization. Online platforms blur those lines constantly. A creator may genuinely care about a topic while simultaneously benefiting from its virality. Audiences may feel sincere concern while also consuming the situation as entertainment. Algorithms may amplify emotional reactions without distinguishing between healthy discussion and unhealthy speculation. Everything becomes mixed together. And once narratives reach that stage, controlling public perception becomes nearly impossible. Even attempts to clarify situations can unintentionally intensify discourse because audiences interpret responses through pre-existing assumptions. Silence becomes suspicious. Emotional reactions become analyzed. Attempts to defend oneself become content for further reaction videos. The cycle feeds itself. As the discussion surrounding Erika Kirk continued evolving, the emotional tone online became increasingly divided. Some viewers expressed exhaustion with the endless speculation. Others remained deeply invested in uncovering what they believed was really happening. Still, others moved on entirely as the algorithm shifted toward newer controversies. That final point may be the most revealing of all. Internet outrage moves incredibly fast. What feels all-consuming one week can disappear almost instantly the next. Algorithms prioritize novelty. Audiences chase emotional stimulation. New narratives replace old ones continuously. Yet, for the individuals caught inside these cycles, the emotional impact can linger far beyond the lifespan of the trend itself. And that raises a larger question about modern digital culture. Have audiences become too comfortable consuming real human uncertainty as serialized entertainment? Because the Erika Kirk discourse ultimately became bigger than any single clip, reaction, or viral theory. It exposed how modern internet ecosystems transform ambiguity into engagement loops. It demonstrated how algorithms reward emotional escalation. And it revealed how difficult it has become for audiences to distinguish between observation, speculation, performance, and reality. Even now, discussions surrounding the topic remain unresolved. Some viewers continue believing the internet exaggerated everything beyond proportion. Others remain convinced there were deeper emotional truths hidden beneath the surface. Many simply acknowledge that no outside audience can fully understand another person's internal reality through fragmented online content alone. And perhaps that uncertainty is the real story. It's not whether the internet solved a mystery. but whether the internet created one in the first place. The internet moves fast, faster than context, faster than certainty, and sometimes faster than the people caught inside the story. What began as scattered clips and emotional reactions surrounding Erika Kirk eventually became something much larger, a reflection of how modern audiences consume uncertainty, emotion, and speculation in the digital age. Millions of people watched, reacted, analyzed, debated, and tried to piece together a narrative from fragments spread across platforms, designed to reward emotional intensity. But behind every viral discussion is still a real person. And perhaps that's the part the internet forgets most often, because online culture has changed the way people experience controversy. Today, viewers don't just observe stories, they participate in them. Algorithms encourage emotional reactions. Platforms reward engagement. And somewhere inside that endless cycle, the line between concern, curiosity, and entertainment can quietly disappear. Maybe the biggest question was never whether the internet was right or wrong about Erika Kirk. Maybe the real question is why audiences become so emotionally drawn to these narratives in the first place. Why do moments of uncertainty spread so quickly? Why do emotionally charged clips dominate recommendations? And why does speculation so often feel more powerful than verified reality? As the discussion continues evolving online, one thing remains clear. The internet doesn't just shape stories anymore, it shapes perception itself. And in an era where millions of viewers can collectively build narratives in real time, understanding how those narratives form may matter more than ever before. If you found this documentary thought-provoking, you can support the channel by liking the video, subscribing, and sharing your perspective respectfully in the comments. These conversations become more meaningful when different viewpoints are explored thoughtfully rather than emotionally. So, now the question turns to you. Do you think the internet was witnessing genuine concern? Or did algorithms and viral culture transform ordinary uncertainty into something far bigger than reality itself?